Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea, welcome back to your Chelsea news. In today's video, we have some very interesting topics to cover. Sadiq Khan has criticised Stamford Bridge, Twickenham is available and open to hosting Chelsea games, Wesley Fofana could be out the door this summer, and we also have some rumours around Morgan Rogers. Now, of course, I'll be giving my thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. And before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We're on the road to 10K by the end of 2025. Kicking things off, the Guardian Sport has reported the Rugby Football Union Chief Executive Bill Sweeney has said Twickenham could host Chelsea matches if the Premier League club is seeking a temporary home, but he believes the local council would attempt to stand in the way. This is very, very interesting because I've been supporting Chelsea for over 25 years of my life, and we seem to be going in the same cycles we were under Roman Abramovich. We know that these new owners want a new stadium. We know that there are difficulties expanding on Stamford Bridge in its current location. Roman tried buying out the whole houses around Stamford Bridge. There was a petition, they all said no, which means we can't go sideways, because to go upwards, you have to go sideways. We can't go down, we can't go sideways, we can't go up. It seems impossible to build on Stamford Bridge itself. So it looks like if we are going to be getting a new stadium, we have to move locations, which is a different story completely. You've got the Chelsea pitch owners, you've got the Chelsea fans, you've got the board. It's just a bit of a mess in that scenario, and it has been for the last 20 plus years, because Roman's had these conversations and there's a reason why we didn't move, because he was kind of like, do you know what, nah, like I can't win. And not in a horrible way, but he just couldn't win. It was like, we can't do this, we can't do that, and people don't want us to leave. It is what it is, right? So Twickenham has already been announced as a place that are like, hey, we'll host your games, you can stay here for a while, because they have a certain license which allows them to host certain games, and they've got certain like permits and things. The local council could be an issue. However, with such multi-million pound sort of transactions happening, I feel the council might be a bit more lenient and may allow that to happen for a certain period. Obviously, Wembley was talked about before hosting Chelsea if we were to, rebuild the stadium or move the stadium. There's been a few places, and obviously we've looked at different grounds, being like Battersea back when it was being talked about. Obviously, that plot has been gone now. Earl's Court has always been one that circles because of how local it is. So this is just a constant, ongoing thing. However, with these new owners and then pushing for the development of everything in the club from the top down in their vision. Right, and in their vision, and they want a new stadium. I think it was by like 2030 or 2032 or something like that. This is something they're really going to have to start pushing for if they want to build a new stadium. There's a lot of hurdles for them to jump over. Trying to persuade the fans to move, the Chelsea pitch owners to move. There's a lot of licensing and things like that in terms of names and what the stadium can be called, and what the team can be called as well, right? So it would be very interesting. It would also help Twickenham out. It means that they can kind of do what the Spurs Stadium does now, where it lets other events generate revenue for the ground. I think it's a bigger stadium. It is a bigger stadium than Stamford Bridge, so ticket sales would obviously be generated more. Locality, my geography is not too great. I don't think it's too far away from Stamford Bridge, but far enough away to make people go, I don't know. But as a temporary home, it could work. It could definitely do the job. I don't really know how I feel about this. Like I said, I've seen these reports for years and years. They kind of come in, they fade away. They come back in, they fade away. Twickenham, Wembley, Earl's Court moving, Battersea Power Station, etc. And I just really don't know if Chelsea will ever move stadium. Now, there's an argument within the fan base that, it's our historic place. We've been there over 120 years. We have to stay there. I'm firmly in that camp. I feel like it is our heritage. It's our stadium. It's our ground. It's our church, right? It is our church. We love it. Other fans don't like our ground. Cool. It's not for them to love. It's for us to love, and we do. And the history we've had there, the moments, the European nights, the Premier League games, you name it, it's been done there at Stamford Bridge. It was a fortress back in the early 2000s going into the 2010s. However, the argument is we need to update our stadium to keep with the times. At the moment, it is a bit of a bottleneck in terms of finances, because we can only sell a certain amount of tickets. So from a business perspective, it makes a lot more sense to move to generate more revenue. It means more room for sponsorships as well, which is also more revenue. It means fans can have more of an access to get tickets because there are more available. A lot of people argue that it would just be more tourists. I mean, that's an argument in itself, whether it's tourists, fans, whatever the hierarchy is in terms of how good of a fan you are, which I just don't really try to delve into too much. But there'll be more tickets available. So there are more of an opportunity for Chelsea fans to go see and watch their club play. So I'm really on the fence. I don't want to move, but at the same time, nor did West Ham, nor did Spurs, nor did Arsenal. They all had historic stadiums within their own rights, and they were, very special to those clubs. They've all moved on, got massive stadiums with bigger revenue and renovated the areas, and it's just helped them kick on financially. And I feel like it is a matter of time before Chelsea do the same, and we will have to at some point. Is that now, or is it in the future? I'll be very interested to hear your thoughts down below. Would you stay at Stamford Bridge indefinitely? Would you have that conversation to be like, actually, do you know what? It does make sense from the other side of the coin. We should be moving, because we can't really renovate. We can't go up, because to go up, you've got to go sideways. We can't go sideways because the ground around it we don't own, and we can't go down. So we are very stuck between a rock and a hard place. And then obviously you've got the CPO as well. That's a completely different thing. Again, a lot of red tape, a lot of hurdles to jump through, but very curious to know your thoughts. Moving on to the quotes from Sadiq Khan, the Mail Sport has reported that Chelsea have been warned that their stadium is too small by Sadiq Khan, and that they must be watching their London rivals with envy. And this is like another kick a man when they're down, right? Because we're very proud. Chelsea fans are very proud of Stamford Bridge. It means a lot. Like I said, it's our church. And for the Mayor of London to be like, yeah, it's tiny, isn't it? Like, it's kind of highlighting the obvious. Is he trying to push for a move? Is he trying to, turn the tides of saying to people like, yeah, it's a bit small though, isn't it? For a club of that size, it's a bit small. You must be looking at your rivals thinking, wow, look at the revenue they generate. Look at the state-of-the-art stadiums they've got and the facilities within there. So he's got a point, right? Because like I said previously, on the last clip was, I'm stuck in the middle. I can see the business side of it, and it makes a lot of sense, and you have to kind of modernize with the times. But there's just such a heritage there at Stamford Bridge of like, we don't want to move because that's our home. So I feel like as time goes on, this deadline of like, it's now or never to move is going to get smaller and smaller until, all parties need to make a decision. But I just thought it was really weird that Sadiq Khan's coming out and saying, yeah, it's too small, and your London rivals, you must be envious of them. They must be laughing at you because it's smaller. They've got bigger stadiums, generating more revenue. I can kind of see where he's coming from. It's probably a bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, when they dwarf us in terms of match day revenue, because they've just got more capacity. People can spend more money there. They can get tickets more frequently. They sell out a lot more. And the thing is with Chelsea is we will sell out if it's a 60, 70, 80,000 seater. We will sell tickets. We'll sell that stadium out every week. The amount of fans that can't get hold of tickets that would be able to, unbelievable. Even if it is the tourist and that whole argument of it's just going to be tourists, cool, the owners aren't going to care. It's money in their pockets. But either way, in terms of having a bigger stadium, one of the biggest sort of risks is, are we going to fill it? Are we going to be able to make the money back on it? It's going to cost billions probably in terms of the way that these owners move and the way things cost at the moment and how everything kind of inflates. So are we going to be able to fill it? I think we will. I think we'll sell out every week just like we do at Stamford Bridge, minus a couple of games like for the Conference League and stuff because people are just not as invested in that. Fair enough. But I feel like even the women's team, they sold 27,000 tickets for the Barcelona second leg at Stamford Bridge, which is an incredible achievement. But if the Chelsea women keep doing what they're doing, they're going to start selling out Stamford Bridge too as well, which is amazing. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, they are building so much. So it's going to get to the point where not only the men's team can sell it out, but the women's team are going to be able to, half fill a bigger stadium, 3/4 fill, and that's going to grow as well. So I don't know. I feel like it's probably the writing's on the wall. It's got to happen at some point. It's just a matter of when. Miguel Delaney has reported that Chelsea are targeting Morgan Rogers as one of their summer signings to bolster their attack. This has only just come out, so there's not really too much in depth about these reports so far. How cool would it be to have two players that do the cold celebration when they score, and the arguments between Morgan Rogers starting it, Palmer kind of running with it and making it his thing and his trademark? It'd be quite funny, right? Now, I really like Morgan Rogers. I like him as a player. I think he's very talented. I think he scores good goals. Not like he can score a bad goal in my opinion, but he scores goals, vital goals when needed. I think his overall performance is very high standard. I think he can definitely improve our squad. Be very curious to know what the transfer fee and the wages would look like though, coming from Villa. And also from the player side, I've been having this question or this conversation a lot with the community of, some people saying we should go for Martinez for a goalkeeper or we should try and sign Ollie Watkins as a striker. And they're all valid in terms of like who Chelsea should be aiming to go in terms of how good they are, right? But when it's Villa specifically, I don't understand why a player would leave Villa for Chelsea currently because we're in similar positions, except Villa have been in the Champions League, had a good run in the Champions League. and they look like they're probably going to qualify for it this year as well. Like, we're at different places. I know the brand is bigger. We're a bigger club in terms of recent history in the last 25 years. Villa are a huge club if you take all of history. Of course they are. But in recent history, last 25 years, obviously you would say Chelsea are the more known for the younger generations because of the amount of trophies we won. But I just don't understand why a player would leave Villa to go to Chelsea when Chelsea's a bit of a circus right now with the incomings and outgoings all the time. Not even sure if we're going to keep our manager after a season. Don't know if we're going to qualify for European competitions. We're currently in the Conference League. I don't see that as very appealing from a player. However, from a player's perspective, they may think that the project is exciting and they're willing to go there and make a name for it, be the main man, like I said in yesterday's video, be the main man, be the focal point that takes Chelsea back to the top. But I would be more than happy with Morgan Rogers. I think he's a great player. Be very interested to know what the wage range is and obviously the transfer fee. Just curious on that front. Not that I'm the accountant of Chelsea, obviously, but just like that sort of stuff. If it's something outrageous, then obviously not. But if it's something, 50, 60 million, which is about normal for a Premier League player or players at the moment, he fits the age range. I think he's got a great skill set. I think he'd be a good signing personally, but I would love to know your thoughts down below. And Seb Nonda and Santi J FM have reported that Chelsea have opened the door to a move for Wesley Fofana, whether on loan or a permanent transfer. They then continued their report by saying Wesley Fofana is more than open to the idea of joining Marseille, who are still interested in him. This is very interesting to talk about, right? Wesley Fofana. In my opinion, he's our best centre-back, with the famous Chelsea line, when he is fit. All right, when he is fit, ready and available, he is our best centre-back by far. Right, this guy has experience in the Premier League. He's good on the ball. He's good defensively. He's what I like to call a recovery centre-back as well. As if people like Colwell get caught out, Wesley's there to sweep up. He's got the pace. The only thing he's got going against him is his availability. Availability is the best ability for a footballer, in my opinion. I've always said that, I always will. We also spent £70 million on him. He's been with us for, 3 seasons now, and he's barely played. I think this season was the most we've seen him play. And even this season, it's like, Fofana's back, plays a couple of games, he's out for 6 weeks. He's ruptured this, or he's twisted that, or he's pulled that. He can just never stay fit. So the question I have for you guys is, would you loan him out? Would you sell him? And if you were to sell him, how much money do you think we can realistically get for him? If he wants to go back to Marseille, cool. I've got no issue with that. Me personally, if we were to offload Fofana in the summer, it would hurt because he's got a lot of potential and he's still a relatively young player in terms of Chelsea's scale of young. Their scale of young starts at 16. Do you know what I mean? Wesley Fofana's a very talented player. It's just his availability. He's had a string of injuries. Some of them are just, when you have them, you're not expected to recover from, or if you are, it kind of shortens your playing career type of thing. I think we'd save on wages. I don't think we'd get anywhere near the 70 million for him. Let's be real. We would make a loss on Fofana unless it's amortised at this point. I don't know how much you think we would get for Fofana, but I wouldn't be disappointed if we got rid of him. I'd be sad because I'd be like, it's a what-if player. If he stayed fit, how good would he have gone on to be? Would he have been could he have become a Chelsea legend if he stayed fit and played a lot of games and he was always available? I think he's a great player again when he is fit, and that is his main issue. He cannot stay fit, and he is integral to Enzo Maresca's system because he wants Levi Colwell and Wesley Fofana as a partnership. And you could see at early stages of the season, and they were playing together as the games were going on, they were getting more and more solid as a partnership, and you were like, right, I can start to see what Enzo sees in these two in terms of ball carrying centre backs. One's got the recovery pace, one's defensively more aware. Levi can learn from that. Levi's also good at groundbreaking passes, but line-breaking passes too. They complement each other quite well. And it took a while for it to gel, but you could clearly see that, before Fofana got injured before Christmas. So it was a big sort of hit on the squad that he wasn't there. At the same time, you can't plan a squad around Lavia, Fofana, or Reece James, because realistically, they're the 3 players that are always injured at some stage. Reece James has been on a very good stint of being fit. Unbelievable. Maresca's done well in that sense. And Kunku stayed fit this season, but he doesn't even want to be here, so we can't even mention him. And Lavia, we tried managing him as best we can, but he still gets fit. Like I said, walking to the shops to get milk. So he gets injured all the time. So very curious. Like I said, it makes me sad. Because I'm like, what if? But at the same time, I'm like, I kind of get it. I kind of get it. If we were going to have a player of his calibre on the bench, I mean, a loan would be ideal, because he could go to somewhere like Marseille for a season, different pace of football, a slightly warmer climate as well, which helps with these sort of injuries, and kind of see if he stays fit for a season, you know, get his rhythm back and then come back to the Premier League. Or is the Premier League just too physical for him because his body is relatively fragile now because of all the injuries, if that makes sense. But yeah, very curious to know your thoughts down below. So that is the latest Chelsea news. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported down below in the comment section. Would you leave Stamford Bridge and use Twickenham as a temporary home? What do you think of Sadiq Khan's comments? Is Chelsea too small? Are we jealous of our rivals having bigger stadiums and generating more matchday revenue? And what would you do with Wesley Fofana? Would you loan him? Would you keep him? Would you sell him to Marseille this summer? And Morgan Rogers, what are you thinking? Would you buy him? Would you avoid him? Is there anyone else you'd like to get instead of him? And if you have watched this video all the way to the end, firstly, you're a real one. But secondly, there'll be a thumbnail that pops up on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.